Did you know at this very moment, someone is on Amazon and Etsy actively looking for a quality coloring and activity book to add to their shopping cart? The only question is, will it be yours? Since you're listening to this podcast, hence the name of the show, it's pretty safe to assume that you have a keen interest in creating and selling your first or next coloring book. And it's for that reason I want to assure you you're in the right place. And I'd like to help you make it a reality by inviting you to check out the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, the first of its kind complete A to Z course that features live weekly coaching, resources, templates, and an extremely supportive online community, all designed to assure that you create a standout in-demand coloring book that you'll actually enjoy creating, promoting, and selling. Imagine the feeling of knowing somewhere in the world someone is adding your beautiful new book to their shopping cart, investing in a piece of your creativity. Enrollment is open and you can get started by going to coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. That's coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. Welcome and thank you for joining me. This is Rodney Washington, and I am the host of the Coloring Book Creator podcast and the host of the Coloring Book Creator live group, where you are listening to this episode right now. If you are new to the podcast and you're just hearing me for the first time, I host a podcast called the Coloring Book Creator Podcast. And I also have a Facebook group of the same name. And I will be hosting basically live shows inside the group each week, which will be on video, but then the audio iteration only of the podcast will be coming out within a day or two after the initial episode records. So the plan is to do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'll provide a link in the show notes that you can come if you want to join the group. So this is a group I created for people who are thinking about creating their first coloring book, or they are current coloring book authors, and they are wanting to get support and resources and tools on how to get the word out more about their books. So if this is the first time that you're hearing me, I'm first of all glad to have you. Clearly you have an interest in coloring books or you wouldn't be listening. But again, if you're already inside of my Facebook group, then there you can see, be involved with the community. We have a little over 200 people in the group right now, actually 260, I believe, and it's growing, and it's a great group, and it's a fun group of people who are all interested in or planning to or have coloring books that they have published. So again, I'm very excited to have you here, and I hope that you'll be able to join us each week for new live opportunities to connect. Now, this isn't a traditional call where I will be taking questions. This is really, I will pick a topic each week. And this week's topic was on 7 ways to market your coloring book. I ask my group members, what do they have an interest in? And the 7 ways to market your coloring book was overwhelmingly the topic that got the most. So that's why I'm choosing that for this week. So if you're listening to the audio iteration of this podcast, and you want to join that Facebook group so that you can maybe attend the live sessions when I record it. Also be aware of future trainings and other offerings that I do inside the group. Go over and join that now. And again, I'll put the link inside the show notes to go over and join us inside of the Coloring Book Creator Live Facebook group. This is good for you either if you currently have your book published or you are in the process of creating your book. All of these can be applicable to you. Phase you are, look at this as sort of inspiration and motivation to get you started with your marketing your book. Now, I'm going to go over some online and some offline strategies that you can do to market your coloring book. And this is one, the first one, number one, is to post about your book on your personal social media. If you're in Facebook, you have a personal Facebook page. And if you know anyone following you, most likely you are looking for things that you can share with your followers. Now, some of these followers may very well be family members. They may be friends, coworkers, or what have you. And you might be a little shy about doing this, but I would just say, if you feel comfortable doing so, share about your coloring book on your social media, on your personal social media. Now, I'm saying this with a caveat, is that you don't want to directly promote your book on your personal page meaning you're putting links to where they can go buy the book or asking for money or anything like that. Facebook, they frown on us using our pages for commerce or business related things. But the number one thing that they are totally fine with is keeping our post conversational. So as long as you're approaching it from that perspective and you're not hard selling or hard pitching your book, you should be fine in this respect. And what I even did was I'm going to give you like a little script that you can feel free to copy and just adjust accordingly and post on your page. If you currently have a book, this is a great script that you can use. So I'm actually going to just read it out loud here for you and then go back and listen to this and then you can write it out or what have you. But basically your script would be this. Hey, did you know I recently published a coloring book? It's been a dream or an idea, either one, it can be a dream or an idea, whichever you want to use, or those words interchangeably, that I've had for a while, and I'm super excited to share it with you. And that's basically it. So I'm going to read it out again. Hey, did you know I recently published a coloring book? It's been a dream that I've had for a while, and I'm super excited to share it with you. Okay? That's basically it. Now, then what you do is you want to get some photos of your book. If you currently have it published, it can be the cover of the book. I recommend that, and a couple, maybe 3 or so inside pages of the book. And I'm talking about the physical book in your hand. Okay. So you want to get some pictures of it. Another option you can do is you can do video. So just grab your phone, put your book on a table or whatever, a nice clean surface, and then just turn the video camera on. If you can manage holding the phone and flipping the book at the same time, and just flip a few pages in the book. So either way you want to go with it. I think photos are fine. Again, you want to have probably, I'd say 3, maybe 4 photos. Again, the cover of the book and a couple of inside pages. All right. So you want to have that script, and then you want to post some pictures. And then you want to conclude the post with a call to action. So what you want to do is you want to ask people for something if they're basically raising their hand or showing interest in your book. So you can conclude the post with, after you say, it's been a dream that I've had for a while. Hey, I'm sorry, let me repeat it. Hey, did you know I recently published a coloring book? It's been a dream that I've had for a while, and I'm super excited to share it with you. If you like a copy, DM me and I'll send you a link, or DM me and I'll give you more information. Okay? You can do it that way. Another way you can do it is if you'd like to know more about the book, type something in the comments. So you can say yes, or like a raise your hand emoji, or I'd like to know more, or something like that. And then you can direct message those people. So again, just a simple post with that script, call to action, reach out to me, DM me, comment on this post, let me know you're interested, and I'll reach out to you with more information. Post a few pictures of the book, leave it at that. Nothing more to it than that. It's just that simple. And again, you can do this on your personal social media page. If you have any groups or anything that you're involved in that would be okay with you posting something like that, do make sure you check with the group host for permission before you do that. But that's another option to do, is to check with Facebook groups that you know that you're involved in, that you know would be interested in your book, and ask for permission to share it. And again, this script should work fine and you shouldn't have any issues, but do ask for permission, okay? Moves on to number 2, give away a free sample of your book. I like this. You know how if you ever, I don't know where you are listening to this podcast episode from, but there is a company called Baskin Robbins. It's an ice cream shop. I haven't been to one of the stores in years, but they used to get you sample the ice cream using a little pink spoon. And so what I like about that is it gives the person a chance to taste the flavor before they commit to buying it or deciding if they want it or not. So this strategy I'm giving you here, number 2, is essentially a pink spoon iteration of your coloring book. So what you would do is you would take 2 pages, maybe 3 pages from your book. I'd say probably 2 would be more than enough. Take 2 pages from your book, create another page that goes in the front of the book that tells people where to go get the book or get more information about what you're doing. So you would have basically 3 pages total. 2 would be existing pages from your book that you already have. You just take them out and put them into a document. I use Canva for this, so it's really easy to do. And then you add what I would call a next step or a call to action page. And I put the call to action page on the front. And I say something like, these free pages are sponsored by, and you can put your name, or you can put the name of your company or your business, or you can put the name of your coloring book, whatever you want to do. But it's really simple verbiage at the top. You maybe can take a photograph of your book itself and put that in the middle. And then the last section of that page is a call to action that has a clickable link in it. So you could put like a little button down there and it can link over to where the book can be purchased on Amazon, or if you're trying to get more people in your Facebook group, or you're trying to get them to your website, or you're trying to get them to wherever you want to send them. Most likely, you're probably going to be potentially sending them to either sign up for your email list, which I highly recommend that you do. But you put one call to action there. And whatever that call to action is, that's where they'll go. And this document is clickable. So you create the whole thing in Canva. It's 3 simple pages. 2 of them are already done because you already have your coloring pages. So all you need is this front page that basically tells them who the pages are provided from, i.e. you, a visual, some kind of a graphic there that represents what the book looks like, and then a clickable link that sends them over to wherever you want to send them, Amazon, your website, a social media contact, or where to join your email list. And I would say that when you get this document created, freely offer it. You want to be able to get into many people's hands as possible, because if they like the pages, chances are good that they could click over to your link and go over to Amazon, if that's where you're hosting your book or you're selling your book, to purchase it. So give away free samples freely. The other one, number 3, that I love are contests. Contests are a wonderful way to get your book out there. First of all, people love to win things. And I have found in the coloring book world, people love to win books. So you've got the best prize in the world, which is your book. So I would say look for opportunities either in your own Facebook, if you're on Facebook, that is, your own community. You could be on TikTok, for an example. That could be an option too. But do some kind of a contest. And the best contest that a coloring book creator could ever do is give people who want to participate a uncolored coloring page. Everyone gets the same page. Have them color their page and then post it. Post it back in your Facebook group or wherever the container is you set up for this. And basically, they just post their page there. And then you can run a simple contest where you can do a couple of different ways. You can have other members, if it's a Facebook group, they can vote on the page they like, and the page that gets the most votes, the votes can be counted in the form of hearts, likes, shares, thumbs up, not shares, but thumbs up. It could be shares, I guess. You can't do shares though inside of a Facebook group, but you can do likes and hearts and emojis and that kind of thing. They can also comment, the one that gets the most comments. You can go that way with it. Another option is there's a tool called Wheel of Names. I think it's wheelofnames.com. And you can look it up, do a Google search for Wheel of Names. And everyone that participated, meaning they posted a page that you provided, you can put all of their names inside of this little tool. And it's really fun. It's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune. And you sort of click on the screen and it spins, and whoever wins, it randomly selects the name, and it does like this fun little thing where like the name of the person gets highlighted and like little banners and things pop up, that kind of thing. It's fun to watch. Visually, it's fun to watch. So there's several ways to pick a winner. And then once that person wins, you just direct message them and find out how to ship their book to them. And there you have it. So that's a fun way to get the word out about the book. Is to market the book. You're giving away a copy of the book, and it's a great engagement. So again, I would recommend a contest, all the time, because there are great ways to get the word out. The 4th one is host a Let's Color Together virtual event. I have a Facebook group called Let's Color Together. I also have another group called My Coloring Club. And what we do is we basically bring our own books. It's kind of like a book club, but for coloring books. and we get together and we color. What I like about this and why I started this is because I feel that coloring is fun, but it can also be a little isolating. And I thought, well, why don't we have a community where we're not just by ourselves coloring in our own little bubble? Nothing wrong with that, trust me. But I think it's also kind of fun to have that connection with other people. And I think community is you can create communities really well through some kind of a shared experience. So what you can do is you can get on Facebook, for an example, and you can have your book there, and you can invite some other people to come and they have your book too, and you all color together. So it's not about necessarily you teaching them how to do anything. You don't have to teach anything, actually, but you could, if you feel a little bit more advanced, there's a way to set up your tabletop where you can have either the phone pointing down on your book so they see your hands coloring the pages. That's the way I personally do it. I'm not actually on camera. You just have to decide, how do you want to show yourself? Everyone else doesn't have to show their hands and them coloring their pages. They all can just be on camera, or they can turn their camera off if they want. It's less about the technology, so I don't want you to get hung up on that. It's more about the connection. It's more about the conversation that happens and having a shared experience together. What I love about this is that it gives people a chance to really see your heart, to see where you're coming from, to connect with you as a person and not just an entity or, something separate from you, just like the book. So it can be a great way to create connection. So if you have a little Facebook group or you have a YouTube channel or something like that, or what have you, that's a great way to get connection with people and get the word out about your book by hosting some kind of a group coloring experience related events that you can do with your group. So check that out. That's a great way to get the word out. Now, then this next one is going to be an in-person, offline event. You can do things like approach your church or local organizations in your community and see if there's any opportunities coming up where possibly you can participate in some kind of a local fair or some kind of a local community event where you can set up a table and bring out your books. I know a couple of students in my programs that have done that. One student in particular brought 50 copies of her book to a live event that she did, and she sold 30 copies out of the 50 that she brought within an afternoon. So what I love about in-person events is that you get a chance to talk to the buyers of your book. You get a chance to see their reaction. When everything is done online, we don't always see how they're responding or how they're reacting to what we're doing. So if you can set it up in a way where you can be in person with people, you can really create that second layer of engagement. And I think it goes a long way towards spreading the word about your book. So again, check with local community centers, check with your church if you're involved in that in any kind of way. What I like about those kinds of events is that they don't charge you a lot of money or any money a lot of times to set up a table, bring out some books, and just connect with your local community. Plus, it helps you to get involved in the community as well. My one student in particular who did that, where she sold 30 books in the afternoon, not only did she sell those many books in the afternoon, but she also was able to make some connections with some people at the event where she may be able to get speaking opportunities and other things in future. So again, live in-person events, I love online. I'm all about online, but don't overlook in person, because again, I think a lot of times sales can happen faster because they're seeing you in real time, not looking at it online with 1,000 different distractions and then sort of not quite sure if they want to move forward or not. So if you can arrange something in person live, do that if you can. And again, start really small, grassroots. Just check around and see if there's anything coming up with the holidays. At the time I'm recording this, with the holidays coming up, there's all kinds of possible events that you can participate in. You maybe even do some donations and things like that from sales of your book too. So do check that out. Number 6 is moving on to seeking collaboration opportunities. I love this one, I think, the most, because when you're starting out, you don't necessarily maybe have an audience yet. You may not be that well known online yet. So a lot of what's going to help you sell anything, not just a coloring book, is your ability to be able for people to feel a connection to you and to trust you. So what I like about collaboration opportunities is that you get to piggyback on someone else who has the ear and the eye of your audience. So what you want to do is you want to look for opportunities where you can align yourself with other people who have a larger following, that your book would be a fit for their audience. You have to make sure that it's a fit for them. For an example, one of the examples I put here is, let's say if your book is on self-care, because I publish books on self-care. So if your book is on self-care, think about what potential collaboration opportunities could you seek. One of the ones that came to me was if someone has a subscription box about self-care. It could be a box that could have all kinds of things like meditation related things. It could be physical products like creams or scents or candles, maybe even chocolate or anything like that. And your book could potentially be a fit for that box, for that owner's box. So one source you can look at is go to a website called Crate, Crate, not create, but Crate, like a box, Crate, joy.com. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. Go to that website, and that website is all dedicated to subscription boxes. You can see all the different kind of boxes that are out there. You can see if your book or potential book could be a fit for one of these box owners' boxes, and potentially reach out to them. Because the one thing about subscription box owners is they're always looking for unique products to put inside their boxes. So if you can find someone that your subject of your book ties into the theme of that box, that could be a potential collaboration partner for you. So again, go check out that site, Crate, not create, but Crate, joy, all one word.com, and just see what kind of boxes are out there that relate to the subject of your book. And just to see, I'm not saying approach anyone, I'm just saying check it out to see what's out there. Beyond that, continually look for collaboration opportunities. Facebook groups, again, I go back to that. Also, if you're active on TikTok, that could be something there for you as well. But see if someone that's popular, that's got the ear of your audience, offers any kind of a product or service or anything that relates to what your book is, and see if there's anything that you can collaborate on together to be able to, maybe they will talk about your book, or maybe they have a Facebook group and they'll bring you on as a guest and introduce you to their audience. This ties into number 7, which is do podcast interviews. You're listening to a podcast right now, and the podcast is called The Coloring Book Creator. So I would say that if you're listening to this, clearly you have an interest in coloring books, either as a creator, obviously, or possibly a purchaser of a coloring book. In either case, this is a good show for you to potentially be on. So if you have a coloring book, reach out to me. And if it's a fit for my audience, I could have you on as a guest. Beyond the interview potentially with me, you could also approach other podcast hosts to be a guest on their show. The one thing I will say that I do love about podcasts in particular is that, unlike what I sometimes may label as popcorn media, meaning it's something that you consume really quick and move on, a podcast, a person has to take time to listen to the show. And they're usually investing a little bit of time, anywhere from 15 to 30, 45 minutes up to an hour. So that person listening to that interview with you is really investing time in you and learning more about you and what you do. So again, it's kind of mimics the same in-person experience, except now it's audio. It's not video. So I mean, to me, that means that it's a deeper connection because they're listening to you without the visuals that can serve as a distraction. And if they're connecting with you and your story, I say this to my students all the time, it's not about the book. You're actually marketing you. And the book is the transaction that happens between you and the person that wants to connect with you on a deeper level. Okay. So if I'm listening to you talk about your story, talk about what inspired you to make a book, maybe a little bit of your process, who the book is for, why you created the book. If I'm listening to you talk about that, I'm actually connecting to you. And then when you tell me where to go get the book, the chances increase that I will potentially go and purchase the book because I now feel a connection to you. So getting yourself booked on podcasts is what I call a long game play, meaning it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to first find shows. Again, if you're already a coloring book author, you don't need to go find a show. You're listening to this show. So clearly you have an in already, at least as far as your subject matter. But I'm going to take it outside of the realm of coloring books specifically. Again, going back to our self-care example a moment ago. If you are published a book, a coloring book on self-care, and you find a podcast out there that talks about, let's say, mental health, you could potentially go on to someone's podcast talking about the benefits of coloring for mental health and well-being, because it's a known fact that coloring is a tool that people do use for their own mental health care. So if you find a show that talks about that, you could come on and talk about coloring as a way for relaxation, for bringing calm, for reflection, for opening up other forms of creativity. There's a variety of different angles you can take with it, but they will introduce you as the author of this book. But you're coming on talking about the benefits of coloring for self-care. And so you're not pitching your book the whole way through. You're talking about a subject that's going to be of benefit to the audience that the podcast host is trying to provide for. They want to make sure their audience, that you're addressing the needs of their audience, is what I'm basically saying. So if you come into it with that intention, chances are far greater that they'll book you. And you're just coming on sharing. And then, of course, people want to know, well, how do I get a hold of you? How do I get your book? And then that's where you get the opportunity then to send them over to your Amazon listing or to get them on your email list, which is better. And then on your email list, you can then send them over to Amazon or your Facebook group or TikTok or wherever you want to send them. All righty. So again, it's something I call a long game play. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to find the shows, approach the host, pitch your idea, see if they accept it, get booked on the show, record the show, and then they publish the show. So we could be talking about a few months before your show goes live. But again, what I do love about podcasts is once your episode goes live, unless that person terminates the whole show and takes it down completely, that interview will live for years. I've hosted 3 podcasts myself, this being my 3rd one. Even though I don't publish on my other podcasts that I have, those episodes are still out there. I've not taken them down. People will be listening to your episode for years down the line. It's something that's always working for you in the background. You can make it a goal to maybe get booked on a show once a month. Think about that. That's 12 shows a year that you're on, talking, introducing yourself, providing support and help, and then offering your book. I would be remiss if I didn't say, hosting a podcast, that you shouldn't be seeking podcast interviews. All righty? So let's do a quick recap. 7 ways to market your coloring book. Number 1, post about your book on your personal social media page using the script that I shared and some either photos or some video of your book. Call to action, reach out to me if you want to know more about it or how I can give you the link to buy the book. 2, give away free samples from your book. Use a tool like Canva, grab a couple of pages from your book, put an introduction or what I call a call to action page in the front. You can give that away all day, all night, and that can lead over to people to go purchase your book. 3, contests. Contests and giveaways are a wonderful way to get your book out there. Also get more people wanting to win the book, which will inspire people to want to buy the book. So don't overlook contests. They're very, very powerful in the coloring book world. Number 4, host Let's Color Together virtual events. This again is online, although you could do these in person. This ties into number 5, live in-person events. You could combine these two. So again, you can look at it from the angle of, okay, maybe I can go to a local church group, local community center, offer a Let's Color Together group. I bring out the books, Or I bring out some sample pages and then the people there can go and buy the book for future meetings. You never know. It may come into a little club, a little book club of some sort. You never know. So again, don't overlook doing the virtual events or in-person events. I say do 4 and 5 in tandem. They will go a long way towards building a connection to you personally, which also helps you sell more books. Number 6, seek collaboration opportunities. One of the ones I would love for you to focus on is subscription boxes. Subscription box owners need product to put inside their boxes. Your books could be a great fit for that purpose. Go check out a website. Again, Crate, CRATE, cratejoy.com. I keep wanting to spell out the word create. It's not create, it's crate, like a box, create, crate joy. And check that out and see what type of subscription boxes out there where your book could potentially be a fit. You may even find one that you want to make a book for. Don't approach anyone just yet. Just look and see what's out there. And number 7, do podcast interviews. Again, this is a long game play. It takes time to get all of that in place. But once you do, once you're out there, you're out there. Unless that person takes those recordings down, that show is out there forever. So don't overlook that. So those are the 7 ways to market your coloring book, both online and off. If you are watching inside the Facebook group, I would love it if you would share any comments that you have in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to respond. The audio iteration of the podcast will be going out in a couple of days. So you won't have the visuals per se, but I will provide a link that you can join the Coloring Book Creator Live Facebook group. I'm providing a link there. So again, this is Rodney Washington, your host, and I'm glad that you were able to join me. If you were able to join me live in the group or that you're listening to the show, keep listening for further information about how to connect with me on another level. Again, if you're thinking about publishing a coloring book, I have a program for that. If you have a book already and you're wanting to get more support with marketing the book, I also provide a program for that. And I'll also provide links to all that in the show notes. So with that said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep on creating, and I'll see you on the next episode.